What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, and we are back with some more videos for you today. As you can see in the background, we have got a loan watch video today. So we're going to be having a look at every single player for Tottenham out on loan this season. We're going to see how they're doing, review kind of their loan at the moment, and we're going to be hearing from fans of their specific clubs as well. So, you know, we usually bring you a kind of loan update, loan watch within a Tottenham update, but we're giving it its own little video today and really concentrating and seeing how they're getting on.
Levy will be licking his lips watching this video, seeing how our loanies are doing. Oh, what money can I save today?
So at the moment, we've got 8 players to talk about, 8 players out on loan. We've got Ollie Skipp, Jack Clark, Ryanesen, Harvey White, Parrott, Troy Parrott, Juan Foyth, Paulo Gazzaniga and Cameron CarterVickers. So let's start off with the main man. Let's start off with Ollie Skipp. He is obviously the success story of this loan, of all our loan moves really this season. He's playing at Norwich, obviously, who are top of the league, and he has been ever present for Norwich this season. He's having an absolutely smashing season. I think he's definitely up for a shout for Championship Player of the Year this season, never mind Norwich Player of the Year. 38 games, 1 goal, 4 yellow cards. The guy he's been pretty amazing for Norwich this season, man.
Yeah, and more often than not, he plays 90 minutes as well. Very rarely gets taken off before the end of the game. And look, every game they rave about him.
Yeah.
Norwich. You'll see on social media after every game, they talk about his maturity, his consistency, how good the quality he has as well on the ball. He's comfortable on the ball. He's great off it as well. He's a hard worker. He's mature beyond his years. And Mourinho said he's a future captain before the season started. So he really has shown that kind of mental strength. Because I think it's tough for a young player like him, 19, 20 years old, to be playing so consistently in the Championship. You know, Championship is a pretty decent level, and to be playing every single game. Not like also you got extra games in the Championship. He's already played 40 games this season just in the Championship, and he's literally 2 games a week. It's very, very impressive, and I got to say I'm looking forward to what he can offer when he comes back to Spurs. And I think Mourinho probably
be
is
licking
looking
his
forward.
lips.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially with our
really
underperforming, Winksy and Sissoko and stuff like that. We really need someone of his ilk to come in.
Yeah, and we probably need to, like, if those two leave, we probably need to buy another one as well as Skipp. But Skipp is definitely a player who we should be giving an opportunity to. We shouldn't be signing someone to compete with him. He should be getting his opportunity to compete with Højbjerg, I feel. So I'm really looking forward to having him back next season.
And congratulations as well, because he got called up for the England under-21s this week. So I'm very excited to watch the England under-21s to see how he performs. But without further ado, let's hear from Jack, the Norwich fan Jack, and he's giving us his views on how Ollie Skipp has been for Norwich this season.
As a Norwich fan, I've frequently seen Oliver Skipp play this season, and he's been immense. In my opinion, he's been our most consistent player. Skipp, along with Max Aarons, are the only 2 players in our squads that have started every single Championship game this season, and with Norwich being top of the league, it just shows how important he's been to our success. With promotion to the Premier League now expected, it'd be interesting to see if Tottenham and Norwich can reach a deal for Skipp to be at Carrow Road next season. And also interesting to see if Skipp's going to be in Mourinho's starting 11 plans.
All right, massive thank you, Jack. Thanks for sending that in for us. And yeah, it just confirms what we believe with a fantastic loan move, a fantastic season for Ollie Skipp. But let's move on to Jack Clark, who's on loan at Stoke City this year. He's not having as good of a loan as Ollie Skipp, let's be honest.
It started off more promisingly.
Yeah, it did start off more promising, but in the last 10 games for Stoke, he's hardly started. I mean, he's played 190 minutes against Wickham. He started against Middlesbrough, but apart from that, he's pretty much limited to only sub appearances, hasn't got on the score sheet yet. He's been an unused sub on a few occasions as well. So it's not panning out the way that it is for Ollie Skipp, that's for sure.
Yeah, it seems of late hasn't been that involved. I think he started off, as I can see here, being involved in most of the match day squads and quite a few starts as well. But pretty much the last 8-9 games, he's made 1 start. So it looks like he's fallen out of favour a bit, Jack Clark. And, this is the 3rd loan move in a row now, which hasn't really gone right for him. And
Harry Kane had similar.
Well, no, didn't Harry Kane get Young Player of the Year at Millwall?
Was it at Millwall? Yeah, but he did have a few other loans.
He had
that
a few
didn't
other
work,
loans that
late,
didn't work out. Yeah.
yeah.
Look, we spent 10 million on this guy. People forget that. We spent 10. That's a big outlay. And I personally, whenever I've seen him, haven't seen anything from him to suggest that he's really going to make an impact in our first team.
Seen more from players like Dane Scarlett, haven't we? At 16 years
Honestly, we have. And look, I'm sure I've got a Leeds supporting friend, and I was asking him about Jack Clark when we signed him. He said he's a good little player, but he's going to take time to develop, and he's not really ready yet to make an impact in the Premier League. And I think we're seeing that at the moment. I think maybe he's got a confidence issue or something. I'm not sure what his problem is, but every loan move they don't seem interested.
He looks very lightweight. He looks like he needs to bulk up, turn into a man kind of thing. He looks like a boy playing in a man's game right now.
Yeah, I wonder what convinced us, because obviously Pochettino signed him and Bielsa was the Leeds manager at the time, so they must have had a lot of conversations about him before he signed him. So it's an interesting one. It just hasn't worked out at all really at the moment in terms of him trying to prove himself and prove he can be part of the first team. And look, obviously time is on his side as a young player, and he's got the rest of his career ahead of him. But whether that'll be at Spurs, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, so let's go on and hear from Harvey Todd, a Stoke City vlogger. Let's see what he has to say about Jack Clark's loan move.
Hello to everyone on WeAreTottenhamTV, and just a little loan report for Jack Clark. Jack Clark is slowly becoming one of my favourite players at Stoke City at the moment. He's absolutely fantastic. It's just his technical ability. He's never afraid to take a man on. So far, for his time at Stoke and his 14 appearances, he's clocked up 2 assists. Still awaiting that maiden goal, but the way he's playing at the moment, that's bound to come eventually. The other thing as well, I would like him on loan next season, because I think with Tyrese Campbell coming back from injury, he'll slot in up front. Jack Clark on the right. I think that would be a really, really nice front line going into next season. But yeah, I would like to see him play a little bit more because he's sort of been restricted to sort of sub appearances. So it depends what system O'Neill plays. But if we play with a front three with wingers, Jack Clark definitely plays. And yeah, if I had to rate him so far for his time at Stoke, I'd go for a 7.5. If he could start adding some more goals to his game, then I think that would slowly become a 9 out of 10. But so far for Jack Clark, he's been absolutely fantastic, and I really do hope we can keep him on next season and beyond. Thanks for letting me come on. Come on, Stoke.
Thank you very much, Harvey. Your insight is very much appreciated. Let's move on to Ryanesen, who's been on loan at Hoffenheim, whose loan actually started off really, really well. He really hit the ground running, starting most games, really impacting games, and the Hoffenheim fans and the faithful there in the club really were kind of impressed with him. And then he got an injury which kind of set him back a while, and since he's back from his injury, he just hasn't started a game. When he has started a game, he's gone off quite early in like the 50th, 60th minute. But he has been kind of reduced to just sub-appearances at the moment. But when he was starting for them before his injury, he was getting goals, got 2 goals, was getting a couple assists here and there as well. So he really was playing well, but this injury seemed to have set him back a bit.
Yeah, what a massive shame. He started 9 games in a row in the beginning of the season, and I remember seeing, I think he got Player of the Month. I'm not sure for November.
Yeah.
I remember that, and scored some important goals, and he was really putting in some really good performances. And I remember that they were really talking him up in Germany. And then this injury ruled him out for a month. Has obviously, and since he's come back, I don't know what's wrong. Whether it's taking a while to really get back to full fitness, or I don't know how bad the injury was. But it hasn't really worked out ever since he's come back from the injury. In the last 5 games, he's only started 1 of them, and in that game he got taken off after 59 minutes. And even one of them, he was on the bench. In the last game, actually, he was on the bench and didn't even come on.
Yeah.
So that's a worry. I'm hoping.
And
maybe
the thing is, that game that he didn't come on is against bottom of the league as well. So you got to say that if you're going to play, it'll be against those kind of teams. If you're not struggling to get in the team, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the situation is at the moment, but. Hopefully after, maybe he just needs international break to fully recover, and maybe he'll come back fit and firing after if he trains hard for the next 2 weeks. But
pretty sure he got called up to England under-21s as well.
I think he did. I think you're probably right. Maybe if he plays with under 21s, he'll get his confidence back or something, because he was going so well. So it's such a shame for an injury to ruin it. And hopefully he can work his way back in the team and get back to the level he was before that injury, because he was going really great guns. And we were even talking about how he was going to be challenging Reguilon next season for that left back spot. At the moment, like with the way things are going, he's going to have to get back in the team to really show that he can be part of the first team next year. But I'm confident. I think he's got the quality, and I think he's look, we've seen when he has confidence, when he was playing week in, week out early in the season, he can show what he can do, and it was really, really positive. And he played left wing, he played left back, and he was doing both really well. But this injury has seemed to set him back a bit, which is a really big shame. So hopefully he can recover that form.
That's what's really worrying me about Ryanesen, is that he seems to rely too much on confidence, if you know what I mean. Because when he was at Spurs, well, even when he was at Fulham, you know, he started off his Fulham career really well, went on a bit of a dip in the Premier League. Maybe it was a bit too much of a high level for him at such a young age. Come to Tottenham, he never really seemed to recover from that confidence. And, you know, everything that we saw good of him from Fulham, he didn't put to practice at Tottenham, where he wasn't blasting past those fullbacks, blasting past those defenders, and he kind of playing within himself at Tottenham. And then you saw him go to Hoffenheim, and you saw that confidence come back into him. And now it seems as though that confidence might have been reaped out of him through this injury again. So it worries me a bit.
Yeah, look, there's still a bit of time from now to the end of the season for him to get back in the team. So let's just hope so. We'll have to assess it. But at the moment, it's a bit of a worry that he's kind of struggled a lot since that injury. But I think we at least get encouragement from when he did get a run of games early in the season. He was really, really positive. So we can, I guess, cling on to that. But I think the way things are going, I don't know whether we'll look for another loan move or he'll be part of the first team next season. And I'm not sure.
I think it all depends on how the rest of his loan goes, but we'll have to wait and see with that one. About 9-10 games left of the Bundesliga season. Let's move on to Harvey White, who's on loan at Portsmouth. With Harvey White, I mean, on his debut, he scored an absolutely fantastic header from the edge of the area, really catching the eye. But since then, he's been limited to substitute appearances, had 3 games in a row where he started 90 minutes in each of those 3 games. But since then, again, he's been just a bit part player, coming on for the last 20 minutes, taken off after the first 50, 60 minutes. So it's a bit of a stop-start to his loan move at Portsmouth. But, you know, he's still 19, so you've got to back him, don't you?
Yeah, it's a shame, because I really thought he was going to go there and play every game. I was quite impressed with what I've seen with Harvey White, with how composed he is on the ball. And I remember against Marine, he came in, played a really good game. I know it's only Marine, but he still had played really well. And a few cameo performances he's had, like in Europa League and whatnot. I thought I've been really impressed with him, and in pre-season he was pretty good. But since when he's gone to Portsmouth, I thought he was going to be a complete mainstay. They're going to use him every game. It hasn't quite worked out like that. Maybe you know, their form and stuff has coincided with it, but then maybe they don't seem to trust him as much, which is a big shame. But hopefully from now to the end of the season, he get a few more games under his belt. And I don't think he's going to be part of the first team next season, but I think he could still be a player for Spurs. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see whether he'll be a proper first team player for Tottenham in the future. But I like what I've seen, but he needs to develop more. He needs to develop his game. And he needed those minutes. So it's a shame that he can't really get back in the team at Portsmouth.
Yeah, I mean, if he's struggling to get into a League One side at the moment, I think next year you either send him back to League One or send him to the Championship or something like that to get even more experience. I can't see him.
Well, would a Championship side even take a gamble on him if you can't get into the League One team?
Well, that's the thing. So you either send him back to League One or you find a lower Championship side that are willing to take him on. But look, I completely agree with you. I think when we've ever seen him play, I think he's impressed. So it hasn't been that many games, to be honest, that he hasn't been in the starting lineup, because that first start he did get that 90 minutes and then followed that up with 2 90 minutes. And then there's only been 4 games since then where he had 32 minutes coming on, a 4-1 loss, and then he started in a 2-0 loss, went off after 60 minutes, then played 45 minutes in a 1-0 loss. So, I mean, Portsmouth are on really bad form at the moment. And then he played 18 minutes in a 1-0 loss, and then he wasn't even in the squad in a 2-1 win against Ipswich. So Portsmouth are on shocking form at the moment. So maybe we're reading too much into his kind of loan move at the moment.
Just looking to kind of shake things up a bit, and he was one of the fall guys. I don't know. It's just a shame. I thought he was definitely going to be starting every game there at Portsmouth from what I saw of him at Spurs, but maybe he's finding it tougher than I thought.
All right, let's hear from Portsmouth content creators. 4-0 written all over it on YouTube. There are YouTube content creators. Let's go and hear from them now.
Thank you, gents, for having me. My name's Tom. I run the YouTube channel Fauna It All Over It. I'm here to tell you a little bit about how Harvey White is getting on down on the south coast with us at Portsmouth. First of all, just to say, very impressed. I mean, you can tell he's a youth product from Tottenham. You really can. He scored the winning goal against Oxford United a couple of weeks back for us, which was superb for his confidence and not only for his goal account, which he opened on that occasion. The one thing I would say is that he hasn't been able to sort of maintain a place in the starting 11, whether that's the managerial change that we've had in the last couple of weeks, I'm not sure. But when he has played, he's looked, as I say, very impressive. We've been really pleased with him, and he's a great addition to our squad. He's still young, developing his game down in League One, and then hopefully he can come back to you guys, not in the near future from a Pompey point of view, but I'm sure you'll want him back as soon as possible in order to develop himself further at Spurs. But yeah, really, really impressed with him. He's going to do some great things for us this season, I hope, as our run-in begins. We were told before he arrived that he was a free kick specialist. We haven't quite seen that in fruition yet, but I'm sure that's to come. Overall, really pleased with Harvey White, and thanks for having me on to tell you a little bit about him, and come on you Spurs.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Really great to have your insight. And now let's move on to the Irish boy wonder, Troy Parrott, who's on loan at Ipswich. His second loan move of the season after his Millwall loan not really working out. But at Ipswich, they seem to be quite impressed with him from what I'm seeing on social media from their fans and stuff. He's starting more or less every game at the moment. As soon as he came in, he started 90 minutes. He's playing more or less the majority of each and every game. Recently, he's only against Portsmouth, he was only limited to 2 minutes on the pitch in the last game. The last two games, he's been taken off after 65 minutes. So that doesn't really bode well. But he did get on the score sheet for the first time in the last couple of games. So
Against Plymouth.
Yeah, against Plymouth. So, I mean, he's having a somewhat successful loan period. I think the Ipswich fans are kind of impressed with him, but I still think he needs to do a bit more.
Yeah, he seems to be playing as a support striker role, just behind the striker, not as the proper centre forward, which we thought he was. Obviously, as he's still young, he's I think 19 years old, so I think physically he still needs to develop as a man and before, like really until he can become a real threat to centre backs. It's always going to be more difficult for him to kind of play that centre forward role. So a bit more reserved makes sense. One goal was probably a bit disappointing, and I think this season we had big things expected of Troy Parrott, so it's a bit of a shame that didn't work out at Millwall, and at Ipswich he's only got one goal so far in his performances. But reading from a lot of Ipswich fans, apparently a lot of them are saying that he has shown quite a bit of quality, and like he's got a good first touch, and like his passing range is pretty decent, like he's good at linking the play, and obviously his goal, I don't know if you saw it, was a mistake from the defender. They played it back, he was trying to play it back to the keeper, and he kind of just nipped in and scored.
Yeah, it was great to lash onto that.
Yeah, but it was kind of given to him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was.
So, I mean, he took it well, but it wasn't exactly a goal which, you know, clever bit of movement behind the defender and a good finish or anything like that. It was kind of like anticipating a loose back pass.
Robbie Keane-esque.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we were getting a bit overexcited with Troy Parrott early in the season, saying that, you know, this loan move could be a pathway to first team next season. I don't think he's ready for that just yet. We can clearly see that. But hopefully he can have a good end to the season, and maybe another loan move next year can really push him on a bit.
Yeah, and it just shows how wrong the fan base were last season. Everyone berating Jose Mourinho, play Troy, play Troy, play Troy.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
I mean, he clearly wasn't ready, was he? So
no, not at all.
Look, we've got a video from Alex Griffin, part of the Offsiders on YouTube, an Ipswich vlogger as well. So let's hear from him.
Hello Ben, hello everyone at WeAreTottenhamTV. My name's Alex Griffin, and I've been kindly asked to come on the channel and talk about Troy Parrott because I'm an Ipswich Town fan, and Troy Parrott joined us on loan in January until, well, for the rest of the season. And yeah, my thoughts on Troy then, he's been decent, he's not been too bad. He joined Ipswich and he had a massive impact on our performances because we weren't in great form, and he joined us and he brought a bit of passion into the team because the players haven't really been playing to the best of their ability. And Troy came in and he did have a bit of an impact on the team. He's contributed to a few goals. He scored a goal. So yeah, he's a decent young player, and I can see why Spurs fans like him because he's got a lot of potential. And yeah, I think he'll be a future player for Spurs for sure. But yeah, he's young, he's versatile, and I'm looking forward to what he can bring for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much, Alex. Really great to get your insight as well as we move on to Juan Foyth, who's on loan at Villarreal under Unai Emery. And they really like him there over at Villarreal. To be honest, with Juan Foyth, I always rated Juan Foyth. I always thought he was a good player, good on the ball. And I just thought he just needed a bit more kind of experience in the Premier League to kind of just eradicate those mistakes from his game. Because I think that was the only thing that kind of let us down when he was in a Spurs shirt, to be honest.
Yeah, he's not a bad player. He had really good composure. I always felt I remember against when we beat Dortmund 3-0 at home. He played that game and he was absolutely fantastic. He's put in some really strong performances for Tottenham, but Mourinho, for one reason or another, just didn't seem to fancy him as a leading centre back for Spurs. And I think he could be a good squad player, and he's actually a pretty good utility player. He's like the Argentinian Eric Dyer in a way, like the way he played. Does it? Well, probably in a good way, but he's out of all his appearances, he's made 13 appearances for Villarreal this season, and 8 of them have been at centre back, 7 of them have been at right back, and 6 of them have been defensive midfield. That's more than 13. So maybe 21.
No, he's played 13 in the league. He's played 4 in the cups, and he's played
8 in Europa League. Well, look, he's made 8 centre back appearances, 7 at right back, and 6 in defensive midfield. So it's really he can really play, and he seems comfortable in all of those. The thing
is that CDM role is a role that a lot of Spurs fans were saying he's probably most suited to.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense because he's a good passer, he's got good composure, and he's very comfortable on the ball. So it kind of makes sense that he could do that screening role in front of the defence. But he never really got that chance to do it at Spurs. Sorry, Villarreal haven't yet officially taken up that option to buy him. I'm assuming they probably will, but it'll be interesting to see if they don't, what happens with him, whether we use him, probably not, or whether we how much we get for him. I think is it 15 million or something?
Something like that, yeah.
The buyout. But it's interesting to see in terms of where he plays. It's like he's played 4 games in a row at DM, then 1 game at right back, then 2 more at DM, then 3 more at right back, then 1 at centre back, and then another 1 at centre mid.
Ultimate versatility.
Honestly, and it's he's changing game to game, and all his performances, all his appearances in the Copa del Rey, all at centre back as well. He really has been a Swiss Army knife for Villarreal. So that's really, really impressive. And they're going decent at the moment. They're still in the Europa League. They're challenging the top 4 in La Liga, so having a good season, and he's a part of that. And ever since, mid-December here, he's only missed 3 games pretty much since mid-December. He's pretty much started most of those games. So he seems to be having a good season. I'm happy for him that they're getting use out of him, because I think he's a good player. And I think under different circumstances, he could have succeeded at Spurs. It just didn't quite work out for him here.
To Paulo Gazzaniga, who's on loan at Elche, but he has not made 1 appearance yet, which is really quite shocking, to be honest, because I rate him as a goalkeeper.
So 0 appearances this whole season, none for Spurs and none for Elche. We thought this loan move could maybe get him some game time for himself, just because it was a bit unfair on him sitting on the bench all the time and not getting a minute, seeing as he's probably better than Joe Hart, the other sub-keeper we have. And I was happy for him when he got the move, but it hasn't turned out at all for him for some reason. He's been stuck on the bench ever since he got there, hasn't gotten his opportunity. And it's a bit of a shame for him, because he really doesn't deserve that. He's a decent keeper. He's definitely worthy of starting for a team like Elche. So the fact that he can't even get minutes for them is really a low point probably in his career so far.
It's a weird one with Gazzaniga, because, when he was at Southampton, didn't get any minutes. At Tottenham, only when Lloris was injured, he gets minutes. And now at Elche, he's not getting any minutes. What's he done? What does he do to keep doing to these clubs?
I don't know. Maybe he's just not good enough.
But he is, though, to play at these kind of clubs.
Yeah, you would think. I thought when he got an extended run in the team for Spurs, I thought he was okay, but I thought he kind of got found out once he was playing too much.
Elche, maybe their goalkeeper's just better.
Maybe. I don't know who their keeper is, to be honest. But it's a shame for him, because he probably went there expecting to play every game, and he can't get in the team, and that's probably might affect his confidence. But hopefully, if he does get a chance, he'll take it with both hands, and they'll end up buying him. But unfortunately, it hasn't worked out at all for Paulo, and he's still on the bench waiting for his opportunity. So he's kind of just substituted the Spurs bench for the Elche bench.
Well, not even the Spurs bench. He wasn't even.
Yeah, Spurs third choice for the Elche bench.
All right, and let's move on to last but not least, Cameron Carter-Vickers, who's on loan at Bournemouth. And I can't actually quite believe that Cameron Carter-Vickers is still at Tottenham Hotspur.
Somehow he's still a Spurs player. I don't know how that's possible.
But yeah, he's playing well for Bournemouth this season. I believe he's played 12 championship games. He's played 3 games in the Cups, scoring 1 goal in the championship. Have you heard any murmurings of how he's been this season? He's 23 already.
Yeah, I know. Was he in his last year of his contract? So he's probably out up in the summer. So he's not going to be staying beyond this summer. He seems to be have really. I don't know what happened early in the season, but he didn't play up until January, and since then he's pretty much started every game. So I'm not sure what's been going on this season, whether he was injured or whatnot, or having troubles or something. But literally didn't play a single minute up until January, and since January's come around, he's pretty much started every game, and they've been on good form as well. So he's been a part of an improved defence. So he seems to be having a good time there, Cameron Carter-Vickers, of late. He's had previous good loan spells, hasn't he? But whenever I've seen him for Spurs, he's been pretty bad, to be honest. I remember that one game against Wickham, I thought he was pretty atrocious. That was like 5 years ago now, and he's still part of the team somehow. Did he ever sign it? I can't remember him signing a new contract, but he must have. But look, obviously, he's going to be our starting centre-back next season. No need to sign Skriniar. We'll just get Carter-Vickers back, give him a new contract. Levy will be licking his lips. A few more. Hopefully he doesn't do too much better, because Levy will probably be saying, oh, God, no point spending in the second. I'll just get him. He starts for America, doesn't he? Yeah, USA International. Get him in. But look, I'm sure he'll probably playing his way for a new contract for Bournemouth. He's going to be on a free next summer, so he'll have a few options probably in the Championship. But he's at the moment, to be fair to him, does seem to be doing well for Bournemouth.
Yeah, but like you said, he's had good loan spells before. I remember Sheffield United, Swansea, I think he had quite a successful loan at. So I think we've seen it all with Cameron Carter-Vickers, and I think it's just time for him to move to one of these clubs permanently, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
But look, we've got to hear from Tom from Back of the Nest podcast, a Bournemouth podcast. So let's hear what he has to say on the Cameron Carter-Vickers loan.
Cameron Carter-Vickers. Listen, we haven't seen enough of him as Bournemouth fans. He didn't make his debut until January in the Cup, but since then, we haven't been without him. We've had to play him. He had an ongoing injury at the start, which was a real shame, but since he's come in, he's been absolutely faultless. Great in the air, absolute brick wall at the back, so commanding, good on the ball, and in one-on-one duels, you struggle to get past him, the strength he possesses, and yeah, who knows what will happen going forward, but I speak on behalf of all Bournemouth fans when I say we'd be desperate to sign him permanently, or at least another loan for the end of the season, because he hasn't really put a foot wrong since he's come in, and he's definitely one of the top centre-halves in the Championship, and in my opinion, could do a job in the Premier League for a side. Whether it would be a top side going for Europe, who knows, but if he stays fit, he's only 23 years of age, real talent, and yeah, as I say, on behalf of all Bournemouth fans, we really rate him and like what we're seeing.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. And that rounds up the loan watch for us. 8 players we spoke about. And I hope it really gave you a good insight to how these players are doing on their respective loan moves. That's it from us. Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.